Two more Mountaineer football players have entered the transfer portal. Backup tight end Charles Finley and starting defensive back Daryl Porter. Does that mean that the West Virginia football program is imploding? Stay tuned. Let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and here we are again with another episode of Coos' Corner, where I serve up to you college football and even a little college basketball content several times a week. If you like that kind of content, this is a channel for you, and you need to hit that red subscribe button if you haven't yet. If you like this here video, please give me the thumbs up and share this with all you college sports loving friends. Check me and my colleagues out at the Coast to Coast CFB Network on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description box. Let's get on with the show. Yep, Daryl Porter has decided to enter the transfer portal, and so is Charles Finley. Daryl Porter obviously is bigger news because he was a starter for most of the season this year. And leave it up to our good old friend Brad Smith with the Voice of MoTown to blow this way out of proportion and make everybody think the Mountaineer football program is falling apart. And he's using some tweets that were sent out today, February 16th, 2022, as proof for his argument, and I'm going to rebut his argument and tell you why I think Brad Smith is wrong, and I have some proof. First, let me share the tweets with you. Our good old, wonderful former Mountaineer Darius, former defensive tackle now in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs, tweeted out a simple tweet. The transfer portal is ruining college football. Former Mountaineer and recent transfer, Winston Wright Jr., replied and said, I quote, "How is doing what's best for you wrong?" Darius Stills replied to that. Doing what's best for you is one thing, and I'll never knock someone for that. But if you leaving because you don't want to compete and wait your turn is another discussion. That's a quote. I read it as is. So basically, Darius Stills is saying, man, Darius Stills is kind of saying, guys, man, don't take the easy way out. Stay and fight for your spot. Because that's what he did. And look where he's at today. He's in the NFL. Well, in reply to that, Winston Wright says this. Who left that wasn't starting, bro? Be real. You know what's going on, family. And then Darius Stills replies to that tweet. Now, I don't have this tweet in front of me to quote you, but I'll paraphrase it for you. It said, basically, dude, I'm not talking about West Virginia. I'm talking about the whole country. Well, Brad Smith takes that and runs with it, man, and makes a huge mountain out of a molehill, as they say, and just makes it like that this is a proof that the Mountaineer football program is imploding. Now, there is another Twitter thread that would make you think that something's up, but there again, you've got to take everything in context. Daryl Porter, when he makes his announcement, he says, I will be entering the transfer portal. Very simple. Tykee Smith, another former Mountaineer DB who transferred last season, says, do what's best for you and your family. Love you, little bro. Nothing wrong with that. Wishing his former teammate luck. Sam Brown, a recent wide receiver transfer, who's now going to play for Houston. And by the way, didn't play very much and wasn't able to earn a spot in the starting lineup, says, the grass is greener on the other side, 100. Okay, so Sam Brown apparently wasn't happy in West Virginia, but keep in mind, he didn't get to play a lot, and he was expected to be a star when he come in. They had very high expectations for Sam Brown, and he didn't live up to those expectations. So whose fault is that? Is that the West Virginia football program's fault, or is that Sam Brown's fault for not putting in the work and getting better? I don't know. I'm not there, but I'm just telling you. Look at the other side of the coin here. Now I'm going to give you the proof that, in my opinion, the West Virginia football program is fine, and these transfers are being blown way out of proportion. Number one, West Virginia's had 19 guys enter the transfer portal since the start of the season in August. 19. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. It's more than average, but it's not as bad as everybody makes you think. Alabama's had 17, just to give you context, okay? Of those 19 guys, Winston Wright says, who left that wasn't starting, bro? Well, I can tell you, 14 of them didn't start on a regular basis. 14 out of the 19 guys did not start on a regular basis. Now, there was 5 other guys who may not have been starters that did play a lot. So you could say there's 10 contributors, regular full-time contributors, who transferred, and that's fair. But if you want to use the word starters, like Winston Wright did, there was 5, and I'll name them for you. Daryl Porter, Sean Ryan, Winston Wright Jr., Jackie Matthews, Jarrett Dagey. They were the starters at their positions. Of those 5 guys, 3 of them were grad transfers. Grad transfers, guys. So that means they played 3 to 4 years at West Virginia, have 1 year of eligibility left, and they're going to play it somewhere else. That's not uncommon. That wasn't even uncommon before the transfer portal, guys. Grad transfers that were eligible to play their last year of eligibility has been around for years. So to me, those guys shouldn't even really count in this equation. And heck, you look at Dagey, heck, half the fan base wanted him to transfer. But yet everybody's upset about it. I don't get it. And you look at the guys who contributed that weren't starters. According to Coach Brown, some of those were disciplinary issues. You can't have guys on the team that aren't doing what they're supposed to do because it messes up the team chemistry. You can't be a cohesive team when you've got disciplinary problems in the locker room. It don't work. And then when you take a deeper dive, and of the 19 guys who've entered the portal, there were still 4 in it, including the 2 recent guys that I mentioned and a couple more. You look at the 15 guys who have already transferred out, okay, to other schools. You know how many of those guys transferred to other Power 5 schools? 4. 4. What's that tell you? There's a good chance that those other 10 guys were not good enough to play Power 5 football and get a lot of playing time. So they're going somewhere where they think they might be on the field more. It's that simple. Got some of it's guys who have lost their starting spots to other people because they got beat out. Some of it's guys who never even saw the field. So, I mean, guys, you've got to look at the entire big picture of this thing, man. You can't just look at these one-off situations and read an article by somebody who's a negative writer anyway and hates Neal Brown and wants him gone. You can't read Brad Smith's stuff. You have to read it with a grain of salt. I don't know Brad Smith personally. He might be a nice guy. I don't know. But most of the stuff he writes, and he writes some good stuff every once in a while, but most of the stuff he writes related to the football program is completely negative because he don't like Neal Brown. He's writing it through his eyes, his opinion. So you got to take that with a grain of salt, guys. Don't take it as the gospel. And fan base, please don't panic. We're fine, man. A lot of these guys, too, that are leaving or have left were recruited by Dana Holgorsen. Dana Holgorsen, if he's over here on this side of the spectrum, Neal Brown's all the way on the other side of the spectrum. They are completely opposite personalities, man. I'm telling you. I've talked to people who know them all. I've either coached or played for them. Coached with them, coached for them, whatever. They're opposite people personality-wise. And you talk to people close to the football program, they will tell you when Neal Brown came in, he turned that program on its head, man. As far as the culture, he made a complete shift in culture change. So if you've got guys in there who like playing for Dana and his culture, then you've got some guy that comes in and changes it completely and does a complete 180, of course you're not going to like it. If you're at your job and you get a new boss that comes in and you're happy, content, happy as can be, man. I like my job, like what I do every day. Then you get some boss that comes in and does things completely different than what you're used to. You're not going to like it. We as human beings typically don't like change. So yeah, you're going to have some guys leave. Kudos to the guys that stuck it out and didn't leave. Kudos to the guys that even tried to make it a year or two and just decided it wasn't for them. That's fine, man. I'm not bashing any of these players for leaving. They might be doing what's best for them. I'm not going down that rabbit trail. So this is not a personal attack on guys transferring. This is just to tell you the West Virginia football program is not in shambles because we have a lot of transfers, man. It's part of a culture change. They're getting rid of guys that don't want to be here and bringing in guys that do. Don't you want guys that want to be here? Why would you want a guy on the field that don't even want to be here? Because if he don't want to be here, his heart's not in it, and he's probably not going to play to his full potential. Think about that for a minute, fans. Think about it. Don't panic. Don't let Brad Smith and these other naysayers throw water on the fire here and dampen your excitement and expectations. This football program is going to be fine. If it was so bad, would Josh Chandler Semedo and Dante Stills have decided to come back for their 5th year of eligibility? They could have transferred somewhere else too. Well, heck, they could have declared for the NFL draft. But they chose to come back, man. All is not lost, and everything's not a dumpster fire in Morgantown. Give Neal Brown time to build the program the way he wants it. Be patient. Let him see it through. Let him get his recruits in here. Let them guys get on the field and show what they can do, because I got a feeling they're going to prove a lot of you haters wrong. Look, I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong at the end of the day, and this could end up being a mess. And if it is, I'll tell you. I'll admit to it. Y'all know me. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you. But I don't think it is. I really don't. I think we're going to be fine. I think this is just addition by subtraction, as they say. And I don't mean that in a personal attack. I just mean subtraction of guys who don't really want to be there and addition of guys who do. There's going to be better morale, better attitudes, better team chemistry, and that leads to better on-field performance, guys. I'm telling you. Well, listen, let me know in the comments section what your opinion is. Do you think the West Virginia football program is imploding before our eyes? Or do you think it's just Neal Brown's culture slowly being integrated in? Let me know what you think. I want to get your opinion. You can support me financially, guys, if you want to, through Patreon. Links in the description box, through Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, one-time payments there. Also in the description box. You can join YouTube channel memberships by just clicking that little join button right underneath this video. It's very easy to do. There's perks that go along with that in the Patreon page. If you can't support me financially, please support me by hitting the red subscribe button, the thumbs up button, or leaving a comment. All those things help me out with that YouTube algorithm. Helps keep my videos getting spread out through the YouTube world. I appreciate you tuning in, and as always, Q Country Roads.